Good morning, Mount Olive Church and friends of Mount Olive Church. Happy Friday to you. Andrew Short filling in for John Mullins today. I'm going to try to present here a little different look here from the Google Meet. So see how that goes. But I'm going to share my screen here with you. Glad to fill in for John today, as always. So hope you enjoyed the message from Sunday, of course, from Brother TJ, Pastor TJ. It was awesome, great place to be. Again, it's been so good to be back in the sanctuary. No offense to the gym, but it's been awesome to be back in there and be with everyone and get to some semblance of normal, I guess. But so today's devotion, hopefully you got a chance to watch the other devotions this week. They've been fantastic. And going to hit on something Brother TJ said Sunday, one of his points there, and he talked about it a little bit, and we'll get to more of that towards the end. But being the mess that comes sometimes from being in a church, and the mess that's going to happen inevitably when we're changing the city. And most of the time when I'm trying to get a devotion together, I feel very unqualified as always to talk about any subject. This one I feel like I've got a pretty good hold on. The general mess that comes in our Christian lives. I've certainly lived through that at some of my own and seen it, I guess, in the somewhat grand scheme of things, small amount of time. I've been a Christian 15, 16 years now, but it's something that's going to happen. We'll get to more of that later. But in Mark chapter 2, this is where we're at on Sunday here. And of course, the story was the four friends bringing in the paralyzed man and being able to get him to Jesus and having to put him through the roof. And the part that I want to focus on here just real quick, and we'll get into a different Bible. I'll try to be quick here this morning on Friday morning. But in verse 4, he says, "And when they could not come nigh unto him for the press, they uncovered the roof where he was. And when they had broken it up," so the uncovering of the roof and the breaking it up, kind of the part we want to look at here in this story, "they let down the bed wherein the sick of the palsy lay." So, TJ did such an awesome job of talking about, and it was kind of, funny to some degree, but the roofs and what they were made of and the fact that there was manure in there would be the most, the best way to say it. But, here's these friends digging in this stuff. And of course, I was up there and Brother Jody was up there and we were kind of, making a little bit light of it, but I wiped a little bit on Jason and, that type of stuff. But their willingness to dig in that mess, literally mess, right, to get their friend to Jesus. Don't necessarily think they had that in mind when they set out that morning to take their friend to Jesus, right? But it's what they ran into. They ran into the crowd. They ran into not being able to get him into the door. And so they ran into the manure and they were willing to get in there. And so I guess the first thing I take from that is be willing to dig in the mess, right? Be willing to dig. It may not necessarily be carrying one of your friends physically, but be willing to dig into the mess. Don't stop because of the mess, okay? It's coming. If I don't know, maybe somebody's listening today that is a new Christian or a relatively new Christian or a newer Christian than me, and you've not really necessarily ran into that. It's coming. In the sinful world that we live in, the sinful people that we are, that I am, we're going to run into messes of all shapes and sizes. It's coming. All of us are going to cause messes. All of us are going to be confronted with messes. Whatever those look like will be different, but they're coming. So don't stop. Don't run into a mess and be surprised that so-and-so had something going on that surprised you. It's the messes are coming, right? I don't want to get into specifics or anything for sure, but we all have messed up. We all will mess up. And we say that a lot of times, but then I think sometimes, something happens and we're like, oh, not them, right? But it's coming. Don't let that stop you from digging in, whatever that looks like. The more people, I thought this was an interesting thought that God kind of gave me. The more people that dig into the mess, think about the two people, me and Jody were up there digging. Imagine if there's 5 or 6 people up there digging, right? It's easier to get through that mess. Therefore, the mess kind of part's easier. The more people that are willing to get in there and get dirty and clear stuff out, the better off and the easier it'll be to get through. So that led me to these verses in the Old Testament. and then we'll finish up here. But Ecclesiastes chapter 4 says, "For if they fall," talking about basically this portion is talking about how many hands make light the load. It doesn't specifically say that, but it's kind of where I think that comes from sometimes. But for if they fall, talking about a couple people here, if someone falls, the one will lift up his fellow. Think about that, not just physically falling down and helping somebody up, but how many times I know myself, if I fail, people that would get down with me and lift me up. Let's be willing to do that for each other. But woe to him that is alone when he falls. We can't do it on our own, right? We can't live this life on our own. For he hath not another to help him up. And in verse 11 it says, "And if two lie together, then they have heat. But how can one be warm alone?" And in verse 12, "And if one prevail against him," it's very popular scripture here. "If one prevail against him, two shall withstand him. And a threefold cord is not quickly broken." So 3 is better than 2. I guess 4 is better than 3. And in other words, the more people that will dig in and just sincerely get in there, the better it goes. I instantly comes to my mind of Bible school. The more people that piled in there to help and get stuff ready, guess what? The easier it was to get done. And so I'll finish right here. I screenshotted this. This was I thought a very powerful moment on Sunday when TJ had Brother Jody, Brother Jason, Roz up on stage with him. Four people that have been. I'm in the 6-minute mark, but I'm gonna go ahead and finish here. I don't want to take my time here for just a second, but 4 people that have been very instrumental in my life, have always been there for me, have always been strong help for me. These 4 people, this was a very cool moment for me to see. TJ even got emotional about it. And these 4 people, and amongst others, I'm not saying these are necessarily the only ones, but these 4 people, very, very strong leaders in our church, and their willingness to go through things, to go through messes with each other for the good of our church, for the good of our community, for the good of the kingdom, right, as it applies to the city of Wise. And I'm thankful for that, and I hope they know that, and I hope you guys feel the same way. But I guess my point here, and I'll end right now, is there's 4 of them on stage. If there's more, how much lighter is that thing they're carrying? Not physically, but the church, all of the things that we do in the church, the missions, the home missions, and I understand it's not just these 4 that do that. There's so many people that do so much in our church, but the more of us that pitch in, that continually are willing to dig in there and add to how strong that cord is, right? How much better are we reaching our city? TJ makes the point as they leave that the board gets heavier until he finally drops it. Well, to me, here's the way I'm going to look at it. The more people that come up there, right, and help carry that thing, man, how much more of a load could we carry at Mount Olive Church? Not just Mount Olive Church, but at the church in general. So that was my thought for today. I hope I wasn't too long. I got in the 8-minute mark there. So I'm sorry about that, but I did want to not cheat that last little bit there. So hopefully you enjoyed that. Hopefully you got something out of it, guys. And I hope you had a great Friday, great weekend. We look to see you at church on Sunday. We love you guys. So see you on Sunday.